Hello and welcome to You Amaze Me Recordings. I'm Amanda Baker, and here we are in this sacred space where soul meets story, story meets soul, all things human, therapy, yoga, spirituality, stream of consciousness. So, whatever comes, I talk about, and I ramble and I share the insights and wisdom from my inner being with you, a place to connect, to be here with me. So we'll likely pick a card, might help kind of guide the discussion. We'll do some emotional freedom technique tapping, help you to get into the present moment. So arrive, take a breath, breathe with me, be here, breath in and breath out. Take another inhale, another one, inhale, exhale, let it go. And breathe in again. Exhale, breathe it out. Make it audible. Breathe in. Inhale. Exhale out. That little audible sound, the vibration in the back of your throat, like om, sometimes done in yoga, or we could even do a ah, can help open you up and soften to sound, to inner sound. You know, so many people, even in like my bubble or orbit, in what I'm exposed to, I guess because of what I follow on social media or like to learn about, is personal development, self improvement, healing, evolving, as if we're not enough right now in the moment. Many people struggle with that belief, that not enoughness. And in my full time job as a therapist, that's so much of my focus that I realize how much of my attention gets placed on these negative core beliefs and inner wounds and the strategies and interventions to just feel content. So many people don't feel content. And of course, how can you if needs weren't met when you were younger? Politically, societally, media wise, there's so much disruption and so much fear. And so a lot of times our focus goes on, well, if I contain and control what's within my access to feel enough, to do something to create a sense of enough, then hey, I'm okay. And so I think there's a balance or a need for feeling not enough. If that's there, like, yeah, maybe that need wasn't met when you were younger. And so you feel not enough. Okay. And you're alive. You can feel not enough in some areas and feel enough in some other areas. So whether you feel enough or not, take this time, listen. So this week, themes that came up for me, aside from negative beliefs and fears of not being enough, is the topic of gratitude and sacred moments, precious moments. And what I really liked about this conversation in particular, it just got dark. This is me of like, okay, now I'm distracted because the sunlight kind of went away out of the window, and if you're watching on video, it had like a darker tone and shade, and that caught my attention. So, gratitude, how to live in gratitude. And what is the feeling of gratitude? Is gratitude, oh, someone lent me something. They offered something that I needed and I was able to borrow it. And I'm grateful for them for doing that. But is it because they gave that now one can feel grateful? Or is it more of allowing the gratitude to show up just because? And so in this discussion was, how a tree provides fruit, apples maybe, provides oxygen, and provides shade. Those are three examples. And did the tree choose to provide those things, or does it just does because it grew and that's how it exists? It exists by producing fruit. It exists by offering oxygen. It exists not because of those things. It exists and just happens to do those things or happens to create those things. I don't think the tree is like, let me provide oxygen so all of these humans and animals and other plants appreciate me. And so when we are in a space of gratitude, is it because we feel that, or when we're told be grateful because gratitude has such a healing effect or a strong power? And is that gratitude conditioned essentially? Is that gratitude coming from a place of, well, they did that for me? Maybe not. Maybe they just naturally offer, naturally, spontaneously wanted to, with no agenda, with no expectation. But our minds are now like programmed to, well, I have to be grateful, or it's good to be grateful. And sometimes even with that gratitude then comes some association that now I owe them. That's not gratitude. Gratitude is living a life of awe and appreciation because of things that you notice and you experience just because. Take that in. Does that make sense? If not, put questions in the comments and I can try to elaborate in the best way possible that my mind can come up with, because I feel it. I feel, right? I want to offer and encourage this letting your mind feel, because it makes sense beyond the words, the gratitude of, I have ideas that come and I want to share them just because, like, so passionately do I believe in the things that I say when I say them. And it can change. We can absolutely change our mind. I might say one thing and then next week, like, forget what I said about gratitude. But in the moment, that was such a like a clarity of like, I really do appreciate the trees. And I don't want to go and like make them better. They're already enough. I don't need to go and like hug the tree so it feels better, because the tree, in my belief, already knows its worthiness. But it doesn't have consciousness. It doesn't have consciousness like we do. So it makes it so much harder for humans because of our level of consciousness and ego. And so we're not meant to be compared to a tree. I use this as a metaphor for like just to help with the feeling of gratitude, that there are so many instances in life that people have an impact. If we're going to maybe talk about appreciating people, they have an impact on you and you don't even realize it. You just don't know that you are impacting someone, and they might then have an appreciation for you, and you don't need to reciprocate anything. But when we get caught up in our defenses and our egos and our histories and our attachments and our insecurities, that absolutely gets in the way. And that's going to happen sometimes, where the gratitude does come across as transactional or conditional, and the power isn't from that place. I think that's a different tone of gratitude that isn't going to have the same influence or benefit on your. So in thinking about precious moments, sacred, real moments. So we have the gratitude. Just take that. That's kind of my little like nugget of wisdom that came about from this week. And then uh moments that are so pure. And I think this is also a topic that I get in talking with people, is like we want to recreate it. We want to chase it. So we could talk about, the moments where time just stands still. Tell me some of those. When have you experienced that, where you're so immersed in a moment and it's so authentic and real? I think that is more healing than even doing the tapping here. That is more healing than an hours long therapy session. That is more healing than a cold plunge and a sauna. You can have the precious immersion during those things, but it's that it's that it's the precious moment of safety and presence and attunement with yourself and maybe whatever it is that you're engaging with that provides a new pathway for your nervous system. So no wonder we crave it. No wonder we chase it. No wonder we're like, I want more of that, because we live in such artificial uh, programming, like artificial day-to-day things. Like, well, I got to go to work, but I'm not really feeling present in that maybe. And this is like a precious sacred moments that I'm speaking of that are not just I'm in my flow state and that feels good per se. So, okay. So I'll give you an example. When you catch someone and they're laughing, like pure laughter. Maybe you're the one laughing or another person's laughing, and and the laughter is so genuine because something is so funny. So, okay, here's an example. Like these happen they do happen in sessions. And a lot of it is this mysticism, kind of mystical experiences that I tend to have. I pick these cards with clients and, oh, it's a cat. And when we pick a card and then maybe we pick another card and they're from two different decks and the cards have the same meaning. Those moments of like chills and laughter for me and maybe the other person, because we're like, look at that, like look at that message. That's a moment of such pure realness for me. And I'm grateful for that moment. So we're now combining the gratitude of like, they didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. We just literally flipped cards and they had the same meaning. And so, hey, here's our message. Here's the chills. Here's something to take with you. Whether you believe in any sort of spirituality or mysticism or not, whether that's pure coincidence, for me, that's a moment of sacredness. Other example, being with someone and you see them in their insecurity, their anxiety, their fear, and it's like the most beautiful thing to see them in that. And they don't know it, maybe. So yeah, I'll give I'll give like example, because this is story, right? Story. So, my husband and I, we opened up our marriage, and I don't speak about this very publicly, but it sets the tone for these experiences. We did this a couple years, 2 years ago, maybe, talked about going out and being able to date other people. And there's a whole long story in how that came about. And that's not for today. And I'm not here to say one way of living your life is better than another or anything about monogamy versus non-monogamy. That's not what this is for. But this is my experience. And what I find about being able to engage more romantically with more than one person is the value of what those relationships can show you, that we can learn so much about ourselves through the mirroring of another. And the most potent mirroring is when it comes to attachment and attraction and intimacy in relationships. Everything is a mirror. That's the law of reflection. Everything is a mirror. And I could give so many examples of that mirroring that seems to come up around dating. And I'm not like actively pursuing seeing anyone, uh, though when I would have these moments of just pure presence. Something about, and it doesn't happen with everybody. There's just something about you come across a person and I guess like you feel seen or you feel an attraction, probably from something with the past or whatever state of energy that you're in, wherever you are in your life, that person comes about and maybe matches something with you, that then you can feel that sense of settled. And I mean, for me, and I'm open about this, I have an insecure attachment style if I'm going to label myself. And so coming across others with an insecure attachment style, I'm not surprised by. And that might be the matching, the similarity that then leads something to feel seen and feel even familiar. And there's all this talk of like, oh, if you're insecure and you come across that with somebody else and you feel this level of intensity and attraction, then that's just chemistry. And maybe it is. And if you have like negative patterns, then you probably don't want to listen to the chemistry. Or maybe you do, because that relationship is going to show you something about yourself and you will learn something from it, even if it's freaking turmoil. And so I think a part of our life isn't to be happy and calm and at ease all the time, and isn't necessarily just to like find your one person. I mean, maybe you do, but you have to like go through these repeating patterns and you get a little bit better every time. That's the spiral. And that can happen with your one partner. I'm not saying everybody go out and date other people. Uh, I'm saying that if you feel like stuck or stagnant, then you might need to disrupt some things, maybe more consciously, so that you do it without harming anybody. Uh, or it's going to happen unconsciously. Something's going to show up in your life. It doesn't have to be a relationship. That's like, hey, look at this. And you might notice it. You might have the consciousness to take that information and like apply it to yourself. Or you might not. You might like be defensive and not be there. Okay. Uh, so these these dates that I would go out on, which my husband and I were together since high school. And so I didn't really have much experience dating. So a part of it is like the novelty. A part of it is to have new experiences in meeting somebody, and being able just to be open and honest with where I am right now in my life. That doesn't mean that I'll be in an open relationship or, polyamorous or whatever label you want to use forever. It's just for right now, or for that period of time, see what comes. If you can have conversations about it, if you can say where you are and let the other person that you're having these conversations with also speak back and share what's coming up for them, and make decisions together, or they make their own decision based on maybe what I was bringing up. And I know I'm going on tangents. So back to these precious sacred moments. So if I go out with let's say I go out with somebody and there's some level of connection, and let's say you see the other person or they see you, but in this case, it was seeing the other person in their nervousness. That to me was more real than any level of confidence or conversation of sharing about interest, or even depth of meaningful philosophical conversation or activity that you're doing. If you're going for a walk or if you are playing a game, those are things that I like to do. Um, so seeing, someone like maybe they're like fiddling with their hands, or they have trouble like sitting still and they don't even recognize what they're doing. And maybe I notice it and like, hey, what's going on? And then they catch themselves and have a moment of their own awareness without denying it or playing it off, but they're able to like reflect and question and be like, what was I just doing? And be honest. There's something for me that is so precious about that, of like, that was like the most beautiful moment. And you just are there. You're just like breathing and being, and not trying to not be nervous and anxious, and to like catch yourself, and the other person isn't trying to fix it or change it. just genuinely curious, I can go back and I can like feel that moment. And I say this because I think those moments are rare and they can't be planned for. How do we how do we get to those? How do you get more of those moments, whatever that might look like for you, whatever that precious moment is for you? Is it seeing your child laugh? Is it it's hard for me because like my moments might be so different for other people of what is a like pure sacred present moment. And so for me, the top two are the laughter, like just uncontrollable laughter, and witnessing somebody in their vulnerable state, but they don't fully realize it. And you can name it for them, and they're able to be honest and allow that moment to be without distraction. There's something, again, just like so beautiful of seeing all of those intricate different parts show up. So it's not just I see you in yourself, like when we talk about highest self, it's I see you with your parts. And that's kind of internal family systems. Like that feels so strong in my body because we can be living from our parts, but we can be living from the parts that are performing or the parts that are trying to prove. But there are parts that are hidden behind the performing parts. There are parts that are desperately wanting space to be seen. It's not, this is all coming to me now. This I haven't thought about before. This is why this is so powerful. It's not just be in your highest self all the time. I think we're constantly like, meditate. Let me get to my highest self because my highest self can never harm anyone or hurt or be defensive. But to have a part show up that's like scared and it is allowed to be there, and you see it and you witness it and you see that person in that part as like the most beautiful thing in that moment, that I could say that's intimacy. And have you ever experienced that in return? Have you had someone see you in that level of fear, maybe anxiety, nervousness, anger, and you are so present or they are so present that they're not taking it personally? They're not trying to make you feel better. They just see you in that part. And it's beautiful. It's precious. It's real. So I don't know if that makes sense. I do my best to explain it with words. But again, feel it. Can you feel it? Can you feel your own part of you that is scared of whether or not you're going to be like, scared of whether or not you're going to fail? Let's pick a card. Nothing's coming because I don't think I was being fully transparent from my own fear. That if I speak the story in more detail, that will make more sense for people. That will be more vulnerable. And me showing myself, whereas I'm fearful of someone thinking that this story is about them. And that doesn't matter because my words matter. My voice, breathe. What's the purpose of sharing this story? Is it from a part of me that wants to be heard? Maybe. Is it from a part of me that wants to be courageous? Is it a part of me that believes the message is important? Or is this process right here the power? Doesn't matter the context of what's being shared. It matters that there's fear because I'm considering others, considering what they'll think. Will they be angry? Will they judge? Will you all judge? Will you all be angry? This is the work. It's not even work. This is the process. This is what's going on in my inner world that I'm speaking outwardly. This image is imprinted in my mind because it was such a precious moment that is indicative of so many other precious moments. The meaning of the moment isn't about me and the person. It's about the mirroring of having moments like that and why we might try to force or recreate them or chase them, or why we may even be fearful and avoidant of them. How much do you allow yourself to be seen like that without trying? Because you cannot recreate, you cannot create for a part to show itself safely when there's so many other protective parts. The anxiety is often protected by masking or performing. So if we go back to the story, so I was going out with someone, second, third, fourth time, maybe one of those. And I get to their house and we're just hanging out, looking at a book, eating some food. And they started pacing around the room and thought it was so comical, like in this very like childlike, silly way. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you looking for? And they had no idea that they were even pacing. And they stopped and they were like, I'm not looking for anything. And I was like, okay. And I just kind of paused. And I said something like, well, it looks like you were looking for something. And then they were like, no, I think I'm nervous. And that was it. And I was curious. I was like, oh, what are you nervous about? That was it. That moment. Because something in those circumstances was safe enough to show the nervousness and to be curious. Not deflecting like, oh, I'm just looking for this, or what do you mean? I'm not looking for anything. And not me being like accusatory, like, you don't have anything to be nervous about, or like, not like that. It's just a flow. That's what we need more of. Not the, let's do this strategy, let's read this book, let's listen even to this podcast. Just noticing, being, not noticing, being yourself. Letting yourself be anxious. Letting yourself experience anger. Letting yourself live. Letting yourself engage in things that are enjoyable for you simply just because. It is layers. There are layers of these parts, and the parts that are pretending at times to be more confident than you are, pretending to know more information that you know, pretending to, and you don't even know you're pretending. That's the thing. We don't know that we're pretending sometimes. We don't realize that we're showing up with an agenda because it's so subconscious and it's so embedded, and you don't need to dissect it all. You're going to have periods where you're still showing up maybe from the protective place of a mask or persona. That's still you. And then there's something beneath that doesn't get a lot of showtime. And there's probably something underneath that. Underneath that anxiety is the unworthiness that I talked about at the beginning. If we don't believe we're worthy, we're not going to do things solely for fun, for no purpose. I'm not going to do things for no purpose. Does this have a purpose right here, right now? I have ideas. So I'm going to share them. And then I'm going to post them. If people listen, cool. A part of me might be like, well, if it gets enough views, maybe I'll start making money. That is not my intention. That might be a secondary aspect of it. What is my intention? My intention is to show up and talk stream of consciousness and see what wisdom comes, because that's fun for me. And then sometimes I question, is that enough? Though what came from this was the process that we all got to witness of me questioning from my place of fear whether to share that little story. So minor. But I listened to myself in my body. My body was uncomfortable, and now it's not. I had the moments of discomfort of like, I can picture that sacred moment, and I think those are the most powerful ones. This moment can be powerful too. Maybe this moment right here is more powerful because I'm relating to that moment that I experienced. I want to give it the credit. because we didn't do anything. We didn't try. It was just being yourself. So no wonder we want more of that. And you're allowed to want it. Let yourself want it. Let yourself live. Slow down from all of the strategies, trying to fix yourself, heal yourself. You've come a lot farther than you've probably given yourself credit for. Okay, hard tap. I said this 15 minutes ago. This is the Woodland Warden staff. Woodland Warden. The Marten and Foxglove. Mischief. Ooh, mischief. All right. Let's see. The Marten and Foxglove represents the trickster, the light-hearted mischief maker, the lover of chaos and spontaneity. Martens are a type of weasel known for their curiosity, quick movements, and occasional aggression. Romanian folklore tells of martens playing tricks on horses, braiding their manes in the night so they wake to a tangled mess of hair in the morning. And foxgloves are said to be the homes of fairies, another mischievous creature. For this reason, they're associated with riddles and secrecy. So pay attention to opportunities for spontaneity, travel, and playfulness. A little bit of lighthearted mischief doesn't hurt anyone. Do I embrace spontaneity? Can I learn to let go and make room in my life for more adventure? Well, that was on point. Specifically with the conversation of gratitude and time standing still. Spontaneity and adventure comes about spontaneously. It is not something that you really get to plan for because it's spontaneous. So let go, open, set the intention to let your parts be seen, that you do not need to be in your highest self most of the time. See your parts, love them. They are beautiful and they are sacred. All of them are so precious. Even though sometimes I try to hide my parts, I'm okay. Even though sometimes I try to fix my parts because I believe that they need to be changed, I accept myself. Even though I focus so long on trying to heal, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. To the eyebrow, all of the hard work, the side of the eye, all the time focusing on figuring myself out, all the time focused on figuring myself out underneath the eye, and shaming underneath the nose, saying I'm messed up to the chin, hoping someone accepts me for that, the chest. But maybe it's not messed up. Maybe it's not messed up underneath the arm. Maybe it's beautiful. To the wrist. My anxiety is beautiful. To the top of the head. Letting that be seen. The eyebrow. Letting myself just be. Side of the eye. For all my parts to be. Underneath the eye. Been trying to create such harmony. So much harmony underneath the nose that I miss out on the spontaneity. The chin and the mischief, the chest and the adventure underneath the arm. Held all of that in to the wrist, held myself back, top of the head because of the overthinking and insecurities, the eyebrow. But the beauty is the insecurity. Top of the head. All the judgment underneath the eye. All the tension underneath the nose. All the hiding, the chin. The escaping and the avoiding. Chest. Of actually creating more moments like that. Underneath the arm. Not by force. The rest by allowing. Top of the head. Letting in and letting go. The eyebrow. To make room for more adventure. for spontaneity, underneath the eye, because the sacred moments is spontaneous. The sacred moments are spontaneous. Underneath the nose. Spontaneous laughter. Spontaneous laughter. The chin. Time in nature. Time in nature. The chest. Seeing another. Seeing another. Underneath the arm. Seeing yourself. Seeing yourself. The wrist. I see myself right now. I see myself right now. Top of the head. In all my parts. In all my parts. The eyebrow. I don't want to be the highest self all the time. I don't want to be the highest self all the time. That's too much pressure. That's too much pressure. I also don't want to hide. So I open the chin. I trust the eyebrow. I feel underneath the arm. I live the wrist with light to the top of the head. Breathe. All of you safe, seen, secure. Safe, seen, secure. As you are, magic and miracles. Mind, body, heart, and soul. Magic and miracles. Mind, body, heart, and soul. Release. Okay. Beautiful, everyone. Thank you for witnessing me and taking in the wisdom, the process, the realness that's not planned. It's spontaneous. Take in some of that mischief and wonder and fascination and adventure. Embody it, live it, pause and notice what wants to be most heard right now. You amaze me. I love you. Feel free to check out the show notes if you want to check out my website, if you want to work with me, be a part of the AMAZE group. Buy a t-shirt of You Amaze Me and spread the message. The AMAZE group is a course and community, online access to pre-recorded meditations, mindfulness, breathwork, therapeutic yoga, therapeutic interventions, all about coming back to you, to access your true talents and your gifts. The best part of the AMAZE group, though, is the community, is a space to be seen in whatever part shows up for all your parts. We meet online, or if you're local, you can come and hang out with us in person. Check out the website, amandabakerwrites.com. You'll find it there. You amaze me. I love you.